Welcome to 9 Bob Note with Paul Isles-Rush and Ken Moss.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to 9 Bob Note. We have made it through a number of episodes so far, so let's see how we carry on. My name is Paul Isles-Rush.
And I'm Ken Moss, and we've somehow not managed to be cancelled yet. What is tonight's topic of choice?
Flying the flag.
Well, we've raised the flag. This is something that I saw, again, on the Bird app. I'm sorry, boys and girls. That's just unfortunately where a lot of my, in quotes, news on burning topics comes from, largely by accident. The lesbians were outraged that they don't have their own flag, that they just lumped in with the rainbow flag, which, as far as I was aware, I thought that sort of covered the bases. It wasn't just strictly for men, it was for all the gays, male or female. So you might have a better understanding of the rainbow flag than I do. Would you like to come in at this point?
Yeah, I actually looked into the history of it a bit because when we got married a couple of years ago, we had certain rainbow elements running through the day.
The rainbow Converse were my favourite bits.
Yes. Although controversial with my mother because getting married wearing trainers is apparently frowned upon. We don't care. I stand by them. But yeah, the rainbow flag was designed in, I think, the early 1970s by someone in San Francisco. And it was in response to the gay rights movement and the Stonewall riots, which was one of the main events, which was started and largely carried on throughout the whole thing by lesbians and transgender people. And the idea of the rainbow flag, each of the stripes has 6 stripes. Each of them represents a different quality. And yes, it was meant to be inclusive of, at the time, lesbian and gay people. And then as the letters in the acronym increase, which I'm sure we'll go through one day on one of these. But yeah, there were more and more added. But the whole point of the rainbow flag is that it's inclusive of everybody. And then a couple of years ago, it's had a bit of a revamp. So it's now had a black and a brown stripe added to it to represent LGBT people of colour.
Right.
And I get that because there is a lot of discrimination and a lot of the hate crime that goes against gay people and particularly transgender people is people of colour. So it's kind of nice. Although they were obviously included, it was sort of a nod that they have perhaps separate issues, separate things. And then we've now got like a little triangle. It looks a bit like the flag of South Africa now.
I saw that the other day. I thought I was tempted to put that on the Twitter feed as a sort of a promotional image, as a banner or something. But I looked at it and I thought, it just looks a bit off.
It's very busy.
What is it?
The inclusion of the extra stripes, the sort of triangle, is the transgender flag. And I also think it has the colours pink and purple, which are bisexual colours. We all like a flag. Maybe I understand why the lesbians were a bit upset by not having their own flag. If transgender people, if bisexual people, can have their own, asexual people have their own flag.
Hey, there's a gay allies flag, which yes, it's the rainbow flag with a black A in it, sort of thing.
Oh, that's nice. It's not very original. They could have put a smiley face or...
It's there. The only trouble that I mean, because I don't really care one way or another. If the lesbians want their own flag, you go for it, girls. But
the only trouble is they'd have to get the gays to stitch it because they're no good at it.
Alert! Oh God, the internet's not got enough ink for the letters we're going to get.
I love the lesbians.
But from somebody who doesn't actually fully... Because I am clinging on by my fingertips just to the acronyms that are coming out. TERFs and CIS, and I know CIS isn't an acronym, but all these new things that are coming out seemingly within no time at all. You're supposed to keep track of these things, and it becomes quite difficult when you have no idea to start with. So everything now is offensive to somebody. You can't say, I really enjoyed that last night on television. There's no gays in it. Does that mean you hate gays? You're homophobic? Well, no, I just enjoyed it. So you can't put a foot right for putting one wrong. And it's one of those things. How far do you boil it down? Is there a male and a female bi flag? Is there a male and a female transgender flag? And is there one for men to women, women to men? I'm genuinely asking because I don't know. How far do you go with it?
Well, that's it, because I mean, you could go to the extreme and just if everyone wanted their own flag, it kind of takes away from the whole point that we're supposed to be inclusive as a community. You know, the acronym LGBTQ plus, the plus means everyone who isn't LGBT or Q but wants to be part of it. So it doesn't matter. And so then you're going to get, like you say, it includes allies, and it includes people who aren't sure, and it includes people who are just, maybe trying something new out, or it includes 90-year-old men whose wife have died and thought, well, actually, maybe, maybe I'll have a wander down Canal Street. It includes everyone, and that's the whole point. And I understand adding the extra stripes because they mean something, but at the same time, the stripes on the original flag weren't one for gay men, one for lesbians, one for bisexual. And there were things like red is hope and, yellow is love, things like that. Quite wishy-washy things. But the idea was that it was all of us. And then if you then start breaking away and saying, well, we don't want a rainbow flag, we want our transgender flag. I mean, I like to say it's not a big deal. Go and have your own flag. Yeah. That's fine. But it's nice to be all together.
From a straight perspective, it was a lot easier when it was just the rainbow flag. If somebody had something on them that was rainbow, it was a fair guess they weren't straight. And so tread carefully, boys and girls, tread carefully, be respectful. Now, I don't know what these flags are. I've had to look them up. Now, all the effort that it takes to research on Google. But on the other hand, if somebody's wearing a symbol and you don't know what it means and you don't know how to find out what it means, it's like you said, you've taken that nice inclusive flag that we're all under one banner. The more you separate, the less cohesive it is, the less inclusive it is. I've never quite understood. This certainly doesn't just apply to the LGBTQ plus community. This is anything you care to think of where you've got factions that want their own identity. All of a sudden,
Scotland.
Well, I fly the English flag on St. George's Day and whenever there's a royal event. I'm very proud of flying the English flag, but it's become. I got banned from the Twitter sphere last year. I got a Facebook ban and a Twitter ban for putting the St. George's flag as my avatar. I was unbanned within an hour. They realised they'd made a mistake, but I got this bizarre message that you've put something. It's associated with hate crime. It's the bloody country flag. So I think we're going a little bit the wrong way in terms of the causing offence, where they're actually supposed to be removing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I speak from a position of not so much ignorance as bafflement. That we've finally reached a point where, certainly on television, gay or non-straight relationships on television, they're not a big deal anymore. You get the odd person, I'm disgusted points of view. There were men kissing on a Cadbury's cream egg advert in the middle of the day. I'm outraged. So you get the odd person who's a knobhead. But by and large, the world has moved on.
Yes. And so let's keep it moving on and not separate it. Yeah. And if you want your own flag, that's fine. But then you can't then say, it's like the England-Scotland analogy. If Scotland didn't have their own flag, God forbid, Scotland didn't have their own flag, and they wanted their own flag, but then said, but we also want to be represented in the Union Jack. Which obviously, this is a really bad analogy. I'm not sure where this is going.
I know where you're going, though. You can't have it both ways. Yeah. You can't be separate and together.
Yes,
you're either
exactly
one or the other. No, I do get people are They want their own identity. They want their own flag and their own symbol. And I get it. I just think the more you drift away, the more you actually isolate yourselves and you pull yourself away from the very inclusion that you're striving for.
It's very similar, slightly tangential to this, when the COVID thing hit last year and we were all flying rainbows or putting rainbows up in our windows to support the NHS. And there was a certain faction of the gays who were outraged. And I remember reading some comments on social media, people who were outraged that the NHS had stolen our symbol, our rainbow. And it's like...
Well, it was an actual rainbow. It wasn't
the rainbow flag.
No,
it was a curved, an actual geographical.
I'm sorry, the gays. I will support you to my last breath, but you can't steal refracted light. I'm sorry, guys. You can't have that.
Damn it!
So it's time to play Feather or Not. On this scale of 1 to 5, how important is this to the wider world?
Again, this is one that depends who you ask. For example, if you ask someone who hasn't got their own flag and they want a flag, it's probably very important. As a gay man, we have our flag. It's not a gay men's flag. It's a gay or the whole community. It's a pride flag. I don't particularly want one specifically for gay men. I can understand why you would want it. I don't think it's a good idea. We're just getting further and further away from the unity that we wanted. I can understand why it might be a bit controversial. I think three feather boas and a rainbow flag.
I will go with that. Middle of the road, 3 out of 5.
Yes.
So, let's turn on the TV. It's time for Screening Queens.
Literally the only flag-related thing.
I know where this is going. This is going to be Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, isn't it? Don't they fly a flag out of the bus in the desert or something?
They do. That's not what I was going. That's not what I was going for. That's a good thing because that is at least a film.
It doesn't need to be a film. Film or TV.
Well, I was going into the archives of the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, no.
Scooch flying the flag.
Right, boys and girls, just to give this some context, I cannot stand Eurovision. It's just this international sort of hate campaign, really, for the past 25 years. Well, maybe a bit less. I think Iraq might have had something to do with it. It doesn't matter if Kylie suddenly came out as an English woman that actually, yes, I was born in London, she'd still come in last place just because it's the UK. So I hate the politics of Eurovision, even though it has generated some admittedly quite catchy tunes over the years. We're not doing Eurovision. Anyway, yes.
We'll have to do a Eurovision special in May.
Wait, I do seem to remember Scooch from years gone by.
It's got the line, "Would you like something to suck on for landing, sir?"
Filth.
Filth.
And on that note, boys and girls, I think we've flown enough this episode. We shall be back next week with something equally thorny. Thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Goodbye.
Nine Bob Note featured Paul Isles-Rush and Ken Moss. Title music was by Mark Scheiman, and the programme was produced by Maverick Productions. For more information, please visit maverickproductionsuk.blogspot.com or find us on social media.